Hey, what's up, you guys? This is AJ coming to you once again from the Thwip side, and tonight I want to take a look at the Mattel Masters of the Universe Revelation Masterverse Savage He-Man and Orko set. Starting off with Savage He-Man, he does come with a great amount of accessories. First, he has two inner swappable hands, so you can have the two splayed outs or two fists or vice versa, like I have him here. Comes with a spear, which is pretty cool. I love the wraps and how it's like stone. The tip is stone. Got shiny for some reason, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool. That might be tape. Let's check. Yeah, I think that might be tape. No, not tape. Anyway, I think it's cool spear. Of course, can't be a savage without your spear, I guess. He comes with his awesome battle axe. Harkens back to the original He-Man figures. He always came with the sword and the axe. No shield though, but that's okay. It's got some, I'm trying to get it so it's not as the glare. It's got some, it's worn, chipped, and whatever. So yeah, pretty cool there. And the interesting thing to me is that he comes with the power sword. And I like how it's got a lot of glare tonight. But it's a duller gray and then a shiny silver down the blade. It's cool, but it's odd to me because to turn it, if you've watched the show, and those that haven't, to turn into Savage He-Man, he calls the power of Grayskull without the sword, and it turns him into like basically the Hulk. But in case you need another sword of power, there you go. Mine's a little bent. I'll have to heat it up. As for Savage He-Man, there's a lot of cool things to like and some not so cool things to like. Starting off, I think the sculpt is awesome. And a really nice use of paint apps to bring out his muscles and the musculature. You can see here, like the shading and the paint apps really bring out the details, especially in the legs. But yeah, I think that is an incredible job. They didn't skimp out on the back. Just a lot of that paint apps to bring out all his huge ass muscles. So I think that's really cool. The hair has some nice paint to bring out the details in his hair. But basically that, jacked up. He's basically a jacked up guy in a loincloth. Loincloth looks cool. Yeah, I think they did a real awesome job with the sculpt and the paint apps to bring everything out. The two gripes I have about him for how he looks is I think he could have been a little bit bigger. Because if you've seen the show, he was basically the Hulk. He was huge. And the other thing is the head sculpt. I would have liked to seen an angrier head sculpt. Like some teeth, like to make him look really pissed off, because he was, again, I'll say it one more time, like the Hulk, full of rage. Here, it's kind of, I'm contemplating being a little mad. And it's weird too, all He-Man figures, He-Man himself, I think, even going back to the original line, for some reason, they've had the goofiest faces. I don't have the regular Masterverse He-Man yet. As I said in, I think, my Tila video, I believe, I'm going back to track them down because I've decided I want to collect this whole line. But he has a goofy face, the originals, and they just missed the mark. I don't know what it is. They can't give us a non-goofy He-Man face, in my opinion. Looking at articulation, there's some good and some bad, as I'll demonstrate just like his presentation. Starting with the head, of course, this hair is going to get in the way. So only a tiny bit of up, a little bit more down, side to side. You do get a little tilt. You get a nice cut at the torso, crunch forward that much, arc back, tiny bit. Arm swivel all the way around. Mine is really tight in a lot of areas. Arm goes up that far. Get the Double jointed elbows. Or is it double? Yeah, it's double jointed. But crashes in the muscle, which is expected. Bicep. Wrist hinge in and out and turn. Get the waist swivel. And here's where that's not too bad for a muscular guy with hair in the way. But here's where I'm running into the problems. For one, his leg goes out that far. That's not the problem. He's got a thigh swivel. That's not the problem. He's got double jointed knees that go up really far. That's not the problem. Ow. Pinch myself. Oh, and he's got a lower, like where a boot would be, cut the swivel. That's not the problem. Although I don't really see a need for that. His ankle goes back pretty far. Up that much. Some nice rocker. Still not the problem. Here's the problem. As you can see, I've skipped some things. And here is the problem. So his leg can go up, but look at the resistance. It's kicking back. I'm having some problems. So kick forward that far, but with resistance. Back a little bit. And let's see this side. Yeah, that has resistance. Here to squeaking. So I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure. And you can't get his legs. Put his legs down. Well, now it's starting to work. Good. Of course, I'm on the video and they're straight. Before, I could not get this leg. This leg would constantly kick out way more than this. So maybe I've done something. And I wasn't sure if that was just the figure itself or if the ball into the leg was stuck and I would have to find a way to loosen it up so it doesn't snap. I've heard G.I. Joe horror stories about the balls doing that, and I was worried. But of course on camera I fixed it and it's not kicking out by itself. So okay, maybe not a problem. And of course for the second member of the set we have Orko. He doesn't come with any accessories, sadly. But I think he looks really cool. Looks just like he did in the show. And Orko has always been one of my favorite Masters of the Universe characters, as he is for many people. And not to get too spoilery if you haven't checked out the show, but I was kind of bummed in part 1 with things concerning Orko. But in part 2, he came back in a big badass way, so I was psyched. But yeah, taking a closer look at him, he hits all the notes from the show, the series. I love how he has the texture in his robe. I love his hat. It's got like a mage from Final Fantasy, old school Final Fantasy going on. And of course you get his nice eyes. His blue arms. And then I think what is really cool is he comes with this stand. This clear stand. And you can move it back, forward and back. And you can rotate Orko on it. And there's another hinge. Nope, just that hinge. And you can rotate him on it. I don't think it's removable. I've not tried that yet. But I did yank on it a little bit. So that's a lie. I did try. I remember out of the package I did. But I didn't want to mess with it in case it wasn't supposed to be removable. So pretty much though anyway, he floats. So no need to take him off really. So that's a pretty cool stand. It does get a little loose doing this. I'm worried over time that maybe it'll just flop. But so far so good. No, there aren't screws. I was going to say if that's a screw I could tighten it, but it's a flat metal piece. But yeah, I think he looks really awesome. He does have some articulation going on besides what's going on with the stand. He's got a lot of great tilt in the head, so that's cool. You can get some expressive poses. He can look up really far. Down a tiny bit. Of course, his scarf gets in the way. And then his arms move. And this is where I suggest being careful. These arms are thin. And I worry about snapping one. But they do go up. And they go back. And they go out. There's no elbow or wrist articulation. Most likely due to the thinness of the arms. But I do kind of wish if they couldn't incorporate like a swivel on the hands because of the thinness. I wish they did have the arms molded so they're like forward, so you could get them in like a magic casting pose straight on. I mean, here I guess you could do this. This one's really tight. It makes me nervous. Yeah, just be real careful with the arms. But yeah, this is a cool magic casting pose, but you can't like bring them out like this. If they were hinged that way, it'd look better. But yeah, I really love how he looks, and his articulation is pretty cool for this little guy. Here's Savage He-Man and Orko next to the Masters of the Universe Revelation Masterverse Skelly God. And actually having Savage He-Man up next to Skelly God, his size doesn't bother me as much because it is comparable. I mean, I have him in a crunch with his knee bent, but they're close in height. The only thing I still wish he was a little bit beefier. If you saw the show, he's like the Incredible Hulk. So at least I would have liked to see seen this figure wider. But seeing them next to each other like this, it's not bad at all. Bottom line for me is that I really like this Savage He-Man and Orko set, especially now that I had in front of the camera luck and have seemed to have fixed my leg articulation problem. Usually I have in front of the camera bad luck and have to go to editing and edit the crap out of my videos. But that's great. That's a big plus for me. It makes me happier with the figure. The leg articulation went from a gripe to now not even a nitpick if it's fixed, but I wish it wasn't so troublesome out of the package. But the only gripe I really have with him now is he needs an angrier head. He's Savage He-Man. I need a head like in the show where he's growling and he's like a madman. Basically, He-Man Hulk. And also my other gripe that's now a nitpick, after seeing him next to Skelly God, I think the size is pretty good. I would still like to see him a little wider, maybe a little chunkier, but again, that's now a nitpick because he scales really nice with Skelly God. Orko, really fun figure. Full disclosure, that's why I originally got the set. I did decide to collect this whole line for the most part, but as always, there might be figures that come out. Do I really need this variation? Like, I think there's like a Viking He-Man. I haven't seen pictures. There's just a solicitation for it. I probably wouldn't pick that up. So, Savage He-Man, after seeing the show, I was really interested in. But I would have, even if I wasn't, I would have picked him up basically and paid $30 for Orko. I really love this Orko. The only little nitpick I have is I understand why they couldn't get a lot in the arm articulation because of the thinness. So I kind of wish they sculpted the hands turn flat so you could have a casting pose straight out. And also, one other nitpick, I would have liked to have seen some magic effects for Orko. And He-Man came with a lot of cool accessories, a decent amount. I mean, not import quality or anything, but some really nice accessories. I would have actually liked to see him ditch the power sword in favor of giving Orko some magic effects, because he really doesn't use the power sword to turn into Savage He-Man, so we didn't really need it, but appreciate they gave it to us. So with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, comment, hit the like button, and thwip that notification bell, and I will catch you guys all right here soon back on the thwip side. Later.